Market failures occur when a freely functioning market, operating without any intervention of the government, fails to deliver an efficient or optimal allocation of resources. The absence of government intervention puts no tab on the firms, and they often fail to assign resources adequately. In such a case, the social and economic welfare may not be maximized. Firms may target only profits and in the way lose its focus from welfare. This may lead to a loss of economic efficiency of the firm. Concept of market failure was instrumental in explaining the need for government intervention. Later, it also became a mode to determine the scope and type of government intervention. Market failures mainly occur when market produces a low level of output or the competitive outcome which is not efficient from the economy point of view. This happens because the interest or the benefits perceived by market differ from those by the economy. The benefits that a market confers on individuals or firm that produce output diverges from the benefits as a whole. The market fails to deliver in comparison to the ideal standards. The main cause of market failure can be externalistic, causing private and social costs and/or benefit to diverge. Abuse of monopoly, power, and market failure due to oligopoly. Government may impose a lump sum tax on monopolists, which shifts the AC upwards, and supernormal profits are taken as tax. It may also regulate marginal costs and average cost pricing for monopolies. To control a monopoly, the government may impose certain regulations like forbidding the formation of monopolies, forbidding monopolistic behavior, ensuring standards of provision, and ensuring competition exists. In the case of natural monopoly, the essence of regulation is the explicit replacement of competition with governmental orders, with principal institutional devices for assuring good performance. Once the case of regulation has been made, there is a substantial menu of options from which to choose. A useful framework in which to examine these options is the 5 general forms of regulation identified by Berg. They can be understood as the cost of service regulation, including direct price setting and rate of return, price cap regulation, performance-based regulation, franchisee regulation, and yardstick regulation. Cost of service regulation can be divided into 2 broad categories: direct price setting and rate of return regulation. Though it has become less favored in other nations in recent years, the cost of service regulation continues to play an important role in the Indian regulatory environment. For example, Airtel and Tata Indicom are in effect subject to directed prices for local calls and calls from payphone. Price cap regulation, as an alternative to traditional rate of return regulation, developed as a practical regulatory tool in the early 1980s in Britain. In its simplest form, a price cap simply gets a maximum allowed internal temporal path for the price of a specific product. The rules for the path are set in advance. Overall, the experience with price cap regulation has generally been a success. Performance-based regulation is relatively a newer concept. Under it, performance measures are used to motivate the firm. Generally, this involves linking the profit of the firm to performance. Measures in such a way that the firm's profits are allowed to increase if it achieves certain performance standard. The firm has an incentive to seek out cost efficiencies and to improve customer service so that it will be permitted to achieve higher return. The principle behind franchising is that the government, as the representative of consumers, can award to one firm an exclusive right to produce and sell a particular good in a particular market. Many basic approaches are available for yardstick regulation, including setting target levels, comparing a time series of the organization's performance, comparing the performance of business units within the organization, and comparisons with external agencies.